Welcome back to the channel, Adventures Through Climate Change with your host, Trevor Snyder. That is me. Yes, that is me. And today we have a video on climate change. We're going to change it up. We're going to talk about climate change on this channel. And actually, that's what we always talk about. Actually, you know what? We keep bringing stuff up about wind. And I actually got this video sent to me by a friend of mine who isn't even subscribed. I just harassed him because I just realized he wasn't subscribed. It's Undecided with Matt Ferrell. And I've seen a few of his videos in the past, and they're usually about, I think, technology and stuff. At least the ones I did, it was kind of about different things. This one's how can a wind turbine be motionless? I wanted to talk about wind turbines and wind power and stuff. As you can tell in the search engine, I put wind power right there. That's what I wanted to know. And this one popped up, one of the first ones, and it was sent to me by a friend, and I forgot to watch it a few months ago. And so when I searched it and I saw it, I was like, and it was like one of the top ones. I was like, boom, this is it. This is the video we're watching, guys. We're watching this. Okay. Look, I personally think that wind power is probably going to be the future of our energy. And I think it all comes down to the fact that we have a lot of wind, and it seems like it's the least destructive. I mean, it could have issues with birds. We use petroleum products to make it, to keep them oiled up, all that stuff. But it would limit the amount of oil needed because we're not burning in it, all the time. Because it's funny. It's not funny, but you look at the breakdown of what the grid is. When I talk about the grid, the energy grid, blah, blah, blah. How are we getting that energy? I mean, there's some places that it's coal power. Some places are nuclear power. Some places have dams. Some places wind, solar, all that stuff. Most of the time, when you see the breakdown of where your grid is getting its power from, it's usually like 80% some sort of gas or oil or something like that, natural gas, something where it's they're using these other substances to make energy. And that's when I turn on my light. Yes, it's electrical, but it was made from something else, right? So how do we get from using all that other stuff to getting more of our own? And I personally think that has to do with wind in at least most places, right? And I think it has to do with the places that are the windiest, like in the Midwest and whatnot. You put it in the highest ground because you get the most wind on like mountains or hills and stuff, and you put them up there, and you probably get the most energy. And I think the taller they get, the bigger they get, the stronger they get, the more power. So I don't know, in Florida, we have wind from time to time. There's no, I don't know how they'd get it up in the sky. There's no elevation anywhere. So it seems like here we're more prone to solar panels because we're closer to the equator. We have a lot more sun and whatnot. But you go up north, solar panels are going to be useless. Wind is the future. Let's see what this guy has to say.
A portion of today's video is brought to you by Brilliant. Wind generates enough energy to produce about 35 times more electricity than the entire planet could use in each day. It's free, clean, and renewable, so why don't we see more wind turbines used on rooftops like solar panels? In a nutshell, it's the blades. More moving parts means more complexity, and you don't have to worry about that with solar. But what if we can contain those moving parts in a way that's safer and more efficient? Using a similar design as the wings on race cars, Aeromine Technologies has done just that. Its turbine works on rooftops without exposed blades, all while taking up far less space than solar panels. Can the Aeromine make generating wind energy on rooftops a breeze? I'm Matt Ferrell. Welcome to Undecided.
Make sure you subscribe to him. Undecided with Matt Ferrell.
Along with other renewables, the use of wind energy is growing. In 2021, turbines contributed about 9% of the utility scale generation of electricity here in the US, which is a big jump from less than 1% in 1990. Wind also produces a lot more power than solar in general. Last year, wind energy generated more than twice the electricity of solar here in the United States. As effective as wind turbines can be, they still have their limitations. That's because the giant propellers that you see dotting the landscapes are imposing in more ways than one. Their high upfront costs, maintenance requirements, and effects on wildlife all present significant challenges. Now, small wind turbines, or SWTs, are no different, with factors like their sound, height, and aesthetics often hindering their practicality. Now, they can vibrate, which leads to both noise and structural issues. Unstable wind flows can cause turbulence, stressing the turbine's components, and nearby buildings can affect the wind path, significantly reducing their power capacity. Basically, there's a reason why you probably associate wind turbines with rolling hills and over the ocean, not gables and chimneys. They're just not as easy to adapt to rooftops the way solar panels are. We've discussed these difficulties in depth in a previous video, and I'll put a link down in the description about that.
Cool.
Aeromine aims to solve that problem. The company claims that its motionless turbine can generate as much as 50% more energy than solar panels using 10% of the space. To understand how the Aeromine can accomplish this, though, we need to take a quick step back and explain how conventional wind...
10% of the footprint is what I'm guessing he's saying, because probably not space. Solar panels are flat, and those look like they stick up quite a bit. So he's saying instead of taking up an entire roof, surface area, then it would be consolidated to this amount and it would go up, right?
And turbines work. It all comes down to the airfoils. Anything that you need to function aerodynamically requires one. Airplanes, helicopters, pinwheels, and of course, wind turbines. In fact, turbines in the US initially used the same airfoil type as the airplane wings before scientists developed blade-specific ones. Without the feather-like shape of airfoils, we wouldn't be able to conquer the skies. The purpose of an airfoil is to make physics work for you. Both turbines and airplanes want more lift than drag, so they use airfoils to take advantage of the Bernoulli effect. And this refers to how gases and liquids flow around an object at different speeds. A slower moving fluid, like air, will build up more pressure than a faster moving fluid, and this forces objects towards the faster moving fluid. The layout of an airplane wing causes air to flow faster over the top side and slower on the bottom side. This results in the bottom side producing the higher air pressure needed for lift that gets planes off the ground, and the blades of turbines moving. As the rotor of the turbine spins, it powers the generator, producing electricity. In the case of auto racing though, you don't want your car to go flying. That's why both the contours of the car's chassis and the wings that engineers stick on the surface are upside down airfoils. As the air underneath the car moves faster than the air above it, negative lift or downforce pushes down onto it.
Right.
The downforce stabilizes vehicles and allows them to maintain speed as they turn corners. So what does this have to do with Aeromine? Well, the airfoils on the race cars are stationary, and so are the Formula One style airfoils that power the company's turbine.
The car's not.
Looking at it from the exterior, there's no exposed moving parts. Instead, two vertically mounted hollow foils stand opposite each other with a space in between them. This creates a low pressure zone, and as the wind flows through the space, it's drawn through perforations in the wings. A short pipe then leads the captured wind to a fully enclosed turbine located at ground level. Several of the weaknesses that hold typical turbines back are addressed by the structure of the Aeromine. Because the turbine generator is housed inside, it's both protected from extreme weather and inaccessible to people and animals, eliminating a major safety concern. The company claims that the Aeromine is silent and that its lack of exposed moving parts means less maintenance. It also can operate with wind speeds as low as 5 miles per hour, or about 8 kilometers per hour. Now in contrast, conventional turbines need speeds of about 9 miles per hour or 15 kilometers or higher to operate. So how do Aeromines compare to solar? Well, right now the answer is a little vague, or at least not verified. Its website claims that a single Aeromine unit can provide the same amount of power as up to 16 solar panels, but doesn't offer any specifics. But we do have a rough idea of what the Aeromine might be capable of though, because the company participated in a 2021 Reimagining Energy Challenge, a US Department of Defense crowdfunding program. At its virtual booth, Aeromine rates its turbines at 5 kilowatts and estimates that each one can produce 14.3 megawatt hours annually. And to put that in perspective, a 5 kilowatt rating is comparable to the power of an average 21 panel rooftop home solar system. Now these types of setups generally produce about 4.5 megawatt hours of electricity in a year. As for costs, a 2019 analysis published by Aeromine in collaboration with Sandia National Laboratories and Texas Tech University estimated that the turbine could be installed at about $2,400 per kilowatt. By comparison, the average cost of constructing solar panels of all types was $1,655 per kilowatt in 2020. However, only time will tell how much the actual costs of the Aeromine matches up to the company's estimate. Let's be clear though, Aeromines are not the kind of turbine that you'll be seeing on a single family home. In the company's own words, they're intended for large, flat rooftop buildings, like warehouses, data centers, and big box retail stores. And remember, the airfoils are stationary. The angle won't change even when the wind's direction does. So they're best suited for locations where there isn't much variation in the wind's direction. Aeromines aren't commercially available yet, and the company hopes to have them on the market by 2023. However, one unit is currently undergoing testing on top of the roof of a BASF Corporation manufacturing plant in Winnedot, Michigan. Now in theory, a fully deployed Aeromine system would look like 20 to 40 turbines lining the edge of a building in a row, spaced about 4.6 meters apart and facing the predominant wind direction.
I don't understand why. Okay, if they're producing energy, right? Why can't it be on a stand that uses a little bit of energy, but pivots it as it follows the wind, right? I mean, it follows the direction of wind. I don't like. I get that it has to be stationary, but can't. I mean, and maybe more of the stuff is under the roof, but like it just seems like you could put it on a platform, and it's producing its own energy, and the energy it produces can move itself right to where to optimize the wind use, right?
Company emphasizes that because the turbines leave room for panels, they're complementary to solar, allowing for power production to continue after sunset or on cloudy days. Luckily, we don't have to wait for Aeromine to witness the potential of rooftop wind energy with solar panels. The Dutch company Ibis Power is already demonstrating the benefits of combining solar panels with small turbines with a form of installation called a power nest. Now, power nests are specifically designed to blend in with the existing architecture of a city.
That's
They
cool.
require a flat roof on a building with a minimum of 5 floors. Attempting to harness wind energy in a metropolitan area usually isn't logistically possible. But power nests integrate small
tallest building.
turbines, funnels, and solar panels into what IBIS refers to as a modular kinetic sculpture to maximize the amount of electricity a single roof can produce. In each nest, turbines and funnels lie beneath a raised platform of bifacial solar panels. The
That's
company
cool.
claims that this arrangement provides as much as 6 times more energy than solar panels could generate alone. So how is this possible? With more physics. This time, the Venturi effect.
Lucky number 7.
It's just getting into it. Now, man, that's unmuted.
Culture.
Have you ever held your thumb over the end of a garden hose while the
Absolutely.
water was on and noticed that the
I have
flow
kids.
speeds up?
I've sprayed 'em.
That's the Venturi effect in action. As a fluid moves through a constricted space like a funnel, its velocity increases. IBIS claims that the power nest's use of the Venturi effect accelerates the wind speed by 140 to 160%. Its turbines can also turn in wind speeds as low as 4.5 miles per hour.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the solar panels are optimized through the placement
It's
on
like
a
no
raised
wind.
platform, which means covering a bit more than the entire area of the roof, rather than only about 40%. Plus, the wind cools the solar panels as it travels below them, which can translate into a 10 to 25% boost in efficiency. Europe saw the construction of the first commercial power nest in 2019, and so far, the results seem promising in terms of how well it gets along with its neighbors. According to a 12-month study of a demo version of the power nest, an installation atop a residential complex in the
Probably
Dutch
kills a
city
lot
of
of birds.
Utrecht, and I know I mispronounced that, sorry for that, it caused no noise or vibration in the apartment below it. The building's residents didn't have any complaints, and the company states that it discovered 0 bird or bat casualties inside or near the system. This
I love when they answer my question right when I get done to say it, because that was a big thing. I remember we took a field trip, and this was years ago. I think I was like 13 or 14. I grew up in the Bay Area, and in California, you have a bunch of wind turbines all over the hills. It makes sense why they're in the hills now. But we took a field trip up there, and when you'd go up there, we went up to one, and for one, they're like way, way bigger than they look in the distance. They are huge. The blades alone are bigger than like an airplane wing. But anyways, the amount of dead birds and dead things around there was quite a few. And it was like, this thing's not even spinning. The one we were looking at wasn't even spinning. It was like, it's not even spinning. How are we killing birds? But there was a decent amount of dead birds there.
This past July, IBIS constructed a power nest atop Hasha Over, and I'm sorry to all the Dutch speakers, I'm probably butchering these names, but it's a 70-meter residential tower in the Dutch city of Eindhoven. Now, with 296 solar panels and 4 turbines, the company estimates the modules will generate no less than 140 megawatt hours a year.
Wow.
IBIS is in the midst of installing more power nests in the Netherlands and Belgium, and the company's CEO, Alexander Suma, has also expressed interest in major US cities like Boston and New York. Concepts like the Aeromine and the power nest show us that small wind turbines can not only be effective independently, but even more impactful in the way that they can diversify our renewable energy sources, meaning more energy generation more of the time. It's like peanut butter and chocolate. Why have one when you can have both? If you'd like to learn more about some of the concepts behind these wind turbines and the physics involved, I'd strongly recommend checking out the classical mechanics and electricity and magnetism courses at today's sponsor, Brilliant. All of the courses are highly interactive, and the classical mechanics course.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you there. It's probably just the ad the rest of the time. I do want to make sure you guys, Undecided with Matt Ferrell, such a good channel. As you can see, that guy he talks, he just says what the stuff he's found. It's neat. And so we're subscribed. We like it. Let's get into the breakdown. I do think the wind is the future. I think it's huge. And seeing that there was no bird casualties. Not that that's a really a big thing, but when you have dams and whatnot, you affect a lot of wildlife, right? And even solar panels, when you have a lot, you're affecting all that ground, and I guess you're giving ground coverage and stuff, but you're reflecting the sun, the light back up there, the heat. So I don't know, but the wind, when you can use it at night, and I like how he said it. So you got solar panels during the day, and then you got one of the turbines for nighttime, and you got your whole thing, right? And now you're only 150,000 into doing it all. That's the problem. So eventually it would be, I think I could see like that rooftop one. I could see that being huge for households, and starting with probably the more affluent, but I would say down the road, we start seeing those like smaller ones on the rooftop, like peaks, like church peaks, and I think we start seeing that type of stuff because it does seem like it has the least amount of cons when we look at all the energy production that we've looked at on here. And I mean, batteries just, we're going to run out of cobalt in no time. So it's not even funny. And not to mention tin and everything else is just going to skyrocket in price. So, man, I'm excited. I enjoyed this video. I think what I'm going to do is look a little bit more into wind power, maybe see if I can find some videos that give some negative approaches to it, see if I even agree with that. You guys know me. I tend to just spout my opinion, whether I'm wrong or right. I guess that doesn't really matter because we don't really know. But I like that. Thanks, Matt Ferrell. I really appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed to his channel, and I would appreciate a subscription too, but I want to make sure I earn it. And that's just because I want a community. Okay. We're probably never going to monetize this channel. It's just a community for us to talk things through, for you guys to let out your frustrations on me for saying things wrong and whatever. And, I'll probably agree with you. Most of the time when I read the negative comments, I was like, they have a valid point. So, I'm one man, I'm a human being, plus I've been doing YouTube for so long. I've gotten so used to all that stuff. So it doesn't really even matter to me. I do appreciate when it's heartfelt comments, whether they're negative or positive or what. If you believe that, tell me. Okay? Tell me. So, like I said, subscribe, like, but more importantly, leave a comment if you can, and we'll catch you on the next video, all right?